Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. And I know, man, am I having some opportunities to practice. I am making some changes in my day-to-days because I need to practice piecing out. Yeah, it's not like we do it one time, like salvation. Salvation's done, right? It's done. The cross is done. But piecing out is constantly bringing our cares back to God, constantly putting our trust back in Him. Why we get so distracted? Okay, maybe it's just me, but I can get so distracted by the day. I get so distracted by stuff. I get so distracted by emails, by notifications on my phone, all these different things, right? There's so many things to distract us. And it gets our mind, it gets our attention, and social media people know this, and Facebook people know this, and that's why they keep putting it out there, because they're trying to get that attention, vying for that all the time. And when we get our attention off on something else, it's hard to reel it back in and get it back on God and what God said about what we're facing right now. So I'm in the process of changing some things in my personal life and in my Bible study life and in my declaration life, right? To redirect my attention back to where it needs to be. Because it's so easy to get off. It's so super easy to get off, right? So it's a constant thing because there's constantly something coming trying to distract us from what God said, from what God said to us, from what God said about us, from what God says. And sometimes it's just what we see contradicts what we know He gave us, right? And so like He says we're righteous, but I see the stuff I do. I ain't telling y'all neither, right? And so then the enemy can use that, and my brain can use that to go, oh, maybe I'm not righteous. Yes, I am. It's not based on what I do. The only thing I do that's based on is that faith I put in Him. Faith is an action. Trusting Him that everything He said is mine. Everything He says in this scripture is ours, right? And so I'm in the process, and that doesn't have anything to do with what we're going to talk about today. Oh, we are going to talk about today is another day that wasn't just another day, right? We've been talking about how God is in the day-to-days and how He just shows up and does beyond what we could even imagine, right? And we talk about some really cool miracles this week that Jesus did, that came through Elisha, different miracles that have happened in people's day-to-days when they weren't expecting it. And I'm still on and still studying about yesterday when he asked her, what do you have? And she said, nothing except. And I'm still studying on that except. I feel like I have nothing, but I got something because God can do something with this little nothing that I've got. So I've still been on that. So we're looking at the nothings of our days that God uses for His kingdom, right? And we're going to look at a story today in Acts that's the same thing. They were just doing their day-to-days. They were just doing got to do this today. This is what we do every day. We're going to keep doing it today. Today's no different than any other day, and God shows up, right? So in Acts chapter 3, there's a lame man. It says, Peter and John's headed up to the temple to pray, which is interesting because they've been running together since they've been running with Jesus, but they're two polar opposites pretty much because Peter is outspoken and cusses and John is a lover, right? So you got this balance between these two characters here, right? There's two personalities, I should say. So they're going up to the temple together to pray at the hour of prayer. And it says there was a certain man lame from his mother's womb. He was carried and he was laid there daily at the gate of the temple at the gate called Beautiful. Every day people brought him up there. They've been doing it for 40 years, right? I don't know, does it say how old he was? But it says he's lame from his mother's womb. And so every day, his friends, somebody brings him up. It might not have been his friends because from what I understand, when he begged and he gathered the money, he paid those people to bring him and pick him up. So every day they carried him up there. Somebody carried him up there and laid him at the temple, right? The temple gate so that he could ask for money for those who were coming into the church. And every day they came at the end of the day and picked him up and took him home, right? And so this was a daily thing. They dropped him off, picked him up, dropped him off, picked him up. They did it every day. But this day, it was just a little bit different when they came to pick him up because it says that he's laying there asking for alms, asking for money. And he fixed his eyes on him And John, it says, and fixing his eyes on him with John, Peter said, look at us. And this dude's like, all right, these guys are going to hook me up, right? These dudes bro's got some money to throw at me today, right? This bro's going to give me some money because I can tell it because he's connecting here. He's got that compassion in his eyes and I'm going to get some money. And then Peter says, I don't have any money. Well, the dude's like, what you looking at me for then? Why are you looking at me like that if you're not going to give me any money? Peter says, I don't have any money. Look at me. I don't have any money. He says, but I can give you this. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And what did the dude do? He took him by the right hand, Peter did, and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength. And he jumped up, stood, walked, went into the temple, walking, jumping, and praising God. And all the people saw him walking and praising God. And they knew it was the man who had been begging alms at the beautiful gate. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened. It was just another day at the office for this guy. This is what he's been doing all of his life, laying there, asking for money. People give him money. He pays the people who carry him there. He pays the people who carries him home. But this day, when those people show up to carry him home, he's gone. And they don't even know about the rapture yet, right? They ain't even figured that part out yet, right? What do? They come back and they're like, we do this every day. How are we going to get paid today now? God healed him, right? It's like, where did he go? And they see him in the temple, leaping and praising God and being able to move. And now he's got to go find a job and learn a new skill, right? Because maybe he's going to be a car salesman because he's been begging all these years, right? I don't know. Anyway, but he's got his day changed on a dime, literally. It changed on a dime because they were just doing the day to day. He did not know he was in line for a miracle that morning. He did not know that day was not going to end like every other day. He did not know that he was going to walk home rather than be carried home that night. But God showed up in his day to day. And that's what we're talking about this week. God shows up in our day to day. He has not just distanced himself and said, I'm too high to talk to these low lives, which is what an agnostic believes, by the way. They think there's really something out there, but it's just too big to talk to us, right? They're kind of like, there's probably something out there, but it's just, they can't talk to us like we can't talk to the ants, right? And we can't talk. God's not up there like that. He's not up there going, I can't talk, I can't interact, but man, it's cool to watch, right? He is involved in our day to day. This book is full of stories where God walked into ordinary days and did extraordinary things. I want to start expecting the extraordinary rather than expecting the ordinary. This guy, a lot of times he didn't put scriptures on the wall. I'm big into praying scriptures. I'm actually working on a little prayer journal about praying scriptures. I'm big about praying scriptures. I'm big about declaring scriptures. This guy didn't even do that. He was just living out his day to day. He was at the temple. It was a key place. People came and went. They're wanting to do their religious duties. So they're going to give to the poor. That's cool because that's part of all the whole picture. He wasn't expecting anything. He didn't even it doesn't say he had faith for it. He was just looking for money, and he was so expecting money from Peter. And Peter went, I ain't got no money, bro. Sorry, right? But he says, let's do this instead. Don't you love it when God says, let's do this instead, when he has that exception to what you expect? I love expectation exceptions because sometimes we just think we're going to go through today and God's got something planned. This Bible is so full of stories of God walking into ordinary days and doing miracles. Why can't we expect one today? Why can't we expect that? Rather than expecting just another day, we're just sitting here wondering what's going to happen, wondering if this, wondering if that. What if we just gave it all to God and said, you know what? Why don't you take this day? I'm not doing real good with it. That was yesterday. I didn't do too good with yesterday, right? And so today I can go, I didn't do real good yesterday with my day. It was not an ordinary day, not in a good way. So can we just do a different day today? Can I just trust you with the day, God? I'm going to give you all my ordinary stuff. and expect you to do extraordinary things with it that I couldn't even imagine. This guy did not go to work begging at the temple that morning thinking, I'm going to walk home tonight. He had never walked, which is the miracle, because you don't just automatically, that means the tendons had to get all back into place, that maybe there were contractures, maybe there were, atrophy, muscles atrophied and all these. He has never used these muscles before. And think about a baby that has to learn how to walk. He didn't have to learn it. The balance was there. The tendons were there. The muscles were there. Everything was right where it needed to be when God walked in. That's what I want him to do in my day today. Let's get this, even our physical bodies, but the spiritual body, he puts it all back in place. He knows where it needs strength, where it needs balance, where it needs reinforcement, what needs to stretch, what doesn't need to stretch. And I'm going to trust him with all of this going on in my head today, because he can make this ordinary day extraordinary. Let's just expect that. What if we just turn on our little expector buttons and go, I'm going to expect God to give me peace today. I'm going to expect myself to trust him to give me peace today. And then I'm going to walk in that peace. And it's going to be an extraordinary day, because I know that God is walking into my day 2 days today. That's why I'm going to peace out, because I know he's here. And you can know that too, right? Peace out. Have a great day. Hope I said something that made sense. I'll see you again tomorrow.